Okey-doke. So thanks for being here, always. I've got my blocks here at the top of my mat tonight. Pretty much anything that I give you guys with props, you can always do it without. So I just never want you to stress if you don't have the exact props. But I'm going to give the option when we start in child's pose to put your forearms up on the blocks just to give a little bit of a lift to the arms and a little opening through the shoulders. So if you want to go there right now, you are welcome to assume that first posture. I'm going to keep myself upright here while I'm talking to you for the first few moments here. But feel free to come into that first posture whenever you're ready to do so, with or without blocks. And so last week, and of course, if you want to start the playlist, all these little housekeeping things, if you want to hit play on your playlist, if you're coming with me for that, go ahead and do that. Okay. So last week I was talking about one of the Yamas, aparigraha, or non-attachment, and it gave me the idea that let's go through all of the yamas and niyamas of the yogic teachings, the 8-limb path of yoga. You might have heard that before. The yamas are the first limb of the 8, and in a nutshell, it's our moral and ethical restraints for living and being. So, so things that we try to avoid. And the first, there's typically an order to when we speak to the yamas and the niyamas. And the first one is Ahimsa. Ahimsa. And what that means is non-violence and non-harming. So a compassionate state of being and thinking and acting. And so I really like that for right now, for where we're at in the world, because we're practicing that a lot with our fellow humans and how we're operating in our lives, and taking care of ourselves, not harming ourselves, but also thinking about others. Because it speaks to all beings that we want to practice that non-harming towards all beings. And then taking it a little, kind of narrowing in that focus and bringing it to our mat tonight, which is where we are right now. Honing in on this present moment. How can we practice that in our asana, in our physical postures tonight? And we can interpret it like anything. It can be interpreted a few different ways, but I think first and foremost, taking care of ourselves. If there's anything that feels too aggressive in the body or not right, or anything is painful, just giving yourself that compassion to change a posture, to leave something out, and honoring that. So as you settle in here in your child's pose, in your practice, just digesting this first of our yamas, Ahimsa, and maybe setting that intention to practice kindness, compassion with yourself here on the mat, or however you want to set your intention. Just letting that come into your focus right here. Let your breath also come into your focus if it is not already. And if it helps to deepen the breath, you might widen your legs, your knees a little further, making space for the belly. Feeling your rib cage expanding, feeling the belly expand between your thighs on the inhale. Slight rise of your back body, and exhale, letting everything out. And as the breath starts to find more length, more depth, maybe you start to implement that pause at both the top and the bottom of the breath. So when you get to the top of your inhale, taking in a little more air, a little more expansion, and exhaling it out. Hugging the belly in at the bottom, pressing a little additional air out. Let's take a few more rounds here. Last round here. You might start to roll your forehead side to side as you prepare to come into movement. Just keep your breath going. And as you're ready, we'll lift up out of child's, coming into an all fours position. You could even keep these blocks here under the hands just for something a little different, just for an extra little bit of support. And then let's continue to move here, nice and gently. Maybe the eyes are still closed down, just tuning in to what you're feeling. And let's settle in here with shoulders above the wrists, hips above the knees. And on an inhale, pressing firmly into the left hand, we'll lift the right arm up high, breathing in, chest opens. Exhale, reach under the body, don't come all the way down just yet. Just pulling the belly in as you reach under, coming back up, arm to the high. Exhale, reach it through. So the core is helping us hover there. One more here. And then this time as you exhale, relax all the way down. Thread that arm underneath. Right ear coming down, and left arm might walk forward. Left arm might also wrap behind your back. Good, now let's come back with this left hand, getting it underneath us enough to press back up. And then let's reset, hands and knees. Take a breath here. Get yourself settled, and then we'll lift the left arm up. Big breath in. And exhale, reaching. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, reach it through. Last time. And taking it all the way down, relaxing. Left ear, you could even left ear to a block. If you've still got your blocks nearby. Right hand can walk forward. Take another breath. And start to come back with that right hand. Press on up. Reaching the left arm high, unwinding. And then let's come back down to the mat. I'm gonna put my blocks aside here. And then let's take this left hand and reach it forward, like you're shaking a hand out in front of you, and press the right heel back, spinal balance. Breathe here. Keeping your belly nice and pulled in. And staying in a static hold here. Good, now let your left hand come down for support. Let your right toes come down to the mat and press into your heel. Taking a couple of breaths here in a calf stretch. And then from here, with these right toes still tucked under, press into your hands and send your left leg up to a three-legged dog. Send it pretty high and let your hip open. You might bend your knee, or you can also experiment with opening the hip with a straight leg. Now let's close the hip down by pointing all 5 of your left toes to the floor. And then with that leg still lifted, start to walk your hands back to your right standing leg here. Coming into a little grounded warrior 3, take a breath and exhale, forward fold. Left foot comes next to the right. Hang out here for a couple of breaths. Shake your head. Maybe sway your torso. You can give your feet a little space between them. And then let's bend into the knees, rise up to stand, sweep the arms up high. And exhale, bring your hands into heart center. Inhale, sweep the arms around, bring them up. And exhale, fold. Take a halfway lift, inhale. Fold, exhale. And let's creep the hands back forward. Try to minimize the sway of the hips as you come into a plank here. Take a couple of breaths. Press into your hands, press into your toes. And then let's set the knees down. Release. Come back to your table here. Maybe give the wrists a little stretch. Flipping the fingertips around. Couple breaths here. Good, and now next, let's bring the right arm forward. Left leg extends back. Balance here. Notice your left grounded hand. Is your palm really nice and flat, or is it kind of tenting up? Really press through all parts of that hand. Press into the top of your right foot for stability as well. And then set your right hand down. Set your left toes down with that leg still straight and press back. Couple breaths, stretching the calf. Good, then really articulating into those hands, fingers spread. Send your right leg into the air for three-legged dog. Letting that leg get high, letting the hip open. Maybe playing with that straight leg, open hip, or bending the knee if that feels better. Breathing here. Let that hip close down. And carefully walk your hands back to your left toes this time. Take a breath and exhale, close down to your forward fold. Let's soften the knees, rise all the way up to stand. And exhale, bow back forward. Lift halfway with your inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Take the hands back to the top of the mat. High plank position. Take a breath here. And exhale, come back to your downward facing dog. If you want some movement here in your dog, pedal the knees, straightening the opposite leg. Some nice stretch and sensation here. Even yourself out and come back to the center of your dog here. On your next inhale, come up high on your toes, hinge forward back into your plank. On your exhale, go back to your downward facing dog. Let's do that one more time. Coming forward, inhaling. Shifting the hips back, exhaling. This time we'll come forward on an inhale. If you're ready for your high to low push-up from the knees or not, lowering down, no more than 90 degrees in those elbows. Chest lifting, cobra, upward dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe here. One more breath in. Stay for the breath out. And then let's inhale as we lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward, and travel up to the top of the mat. Half lift as you breathe in. Fold, breathe out. Soften into the knees, rise to stand. And exhale, find chair pose. Take the hips back. Bring the belly in. Now you can change your arms if this is not working for you. Or if you just want to try something different, get a little lower. Now let's everybody take the arms back to airplane arms. So sweep your arms back down at a low angle here and hug those shoulder blades together. Maybe rise up on the balls of your feet, hover your heels. So it's a shift in where our weight is. We're working some different muscles, but working these legs. Take another breath here. And then set your heels down, stand up tall, let it go. Exhale, bow forward. Really let it go. And then we'll take a halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Stepping back. Plank pose, lowering if you want it, or just holding this plank. Focusing on that core, and we'll all meet in downward facing dog. Take a breath here. And breathe out. Let's step the right foot up between the hands. Low lunge. Left heel dials down. Rise up to your warrior one. Sweep the arms high. Sink in, settle in on your exhale. So focus on your hips here. Right hip moving back in space a little bit, left moving forward. On your inhale, just get a little longer. Maybe take your gaze up. Exhale, bend your elbows, open the chest. Inhale, arms sweep. And exhale, bring the hands down to the mat. Frame your foot, step back. Take your flow, your version, to your down dog. On the inhale, left foot steps forward. Right heel grounds, we rise, warrior one. Shoulders nice and relaxed. Hips going for that squareness toward the top of the mat. Left moving back, right moving forward. Breathing. How are you breathing? Press into your right heel, lift the arms, lift the gaze. Exhale, bend your elbows. Inhale, lift the arms high. And exhale, hands draw to the mat. Stepping back. Make your way to your dog. And then on your inhale, we'll lift the heels. Knees bend, looking forward. Coming to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Rise up, reach up. Send the hips back, chair pose. Take a breath here. On the exhale, sweep your arms back to those airplane arms. Maybe you lift the heels. Next inhale, drop your heels, stand up straight. Maybe lean back with it, and exhale, bow forward. Take a lift halfway. Forward fold, exhale, feet go back. Lower down if you want. Back bend on the inhale, down dog on the exhale. The inhale is the right foot steps forward. Left heel spins down, rise up, warrior one. Right away on the exhale, bend your elbows, take your gaze up. Inhale, arms reach. And exhale, hands frame your right foot, step back, take your flow. So we're doing the same sequence, just breath to movement here. When you're ready, on an inhale, left foot steps forward, we rise on up. Exhale, taking that cactus chest opener. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Stepping back. Making your way to your dog. If you're feeling an active rest here, stay in your downward facing dog. Otherwise, bring your knees to the mat. Practicing that kindness, that compassion with yourself if you'd rather be in child's pose. Be here about 3 more breaths. Yeah, now we'll all meet in downward dog. Some of you might have been there for a while. And let's bring the feet outside your mat. So bring them pretty wide here and walk your hands in. Enough to where you could possibly float them up, but keep them reaching forward. Let your head drop down. Give these shoulders and wrists a break here. And also feel that nice opening through your hamstrings. One more breath. Good, now let's return to our standard issue downward dog here. And then let your heels lift, knees bend, look forward, travel there. Lifting halfway, breathing in, forward folding, breathing out. Soften into those knees, rise up to stand, arms sweep high. And exhale, bring your hands into your heart center. Close your eyes down for a couple of breaths here. Maybe catching back up with your breath or checking back in with your intention. Maybe both. Maybe just enjoying this stillness. And then let your eyes blink open. Let your hands release to your sides. Bring all the weight into your right foot here. Bend your left knee. Catch the inside of your left foot for dancer's pose. So bring your right hand to heart center, so half of a prayer hand here. And you can stay right here, just enjoying this quad stretch. Or if you want to press the foot back into your hand, leaning forward, maybe reaching your right arm high for full dancer. That is your prerogative. But only go as far as you need to go in this posture and breathe. Keep the chest lifted. Keep the left hip closed as much as you can. Take another breath and start to come back where you started. Right hand drawing into heart center. Knees coming side by side. Release your left foot. Left hand comes to heart center. Without letting this left foot touch the ground, possibly maybe, send it forward. Lift that heel a little bit higher. Take another breath. Still without letting that left foot hit the ground, start to lean forward. It's okay if it does, by the way, spoiler alert. Come into your warrior three with hands at heart center. Breathe here. One more breath, you got it. And as we let this go, soften into your right knee, land your left foot toward the back of your mat, and we're coming into a warrior two. There's nothing easy about warrior two, but suddenly having both of our feet on the ground feels like a little bit of relief here. So sink into that right thigh. Let those shoulders be nice and relaxed. Check your right knee that it's stacked over the right ankle. Breathe. Take a big breath in. And on your exhale, find your side angle. So right elbow can come to the inner thigh. Maybe you're reaching down a little lower. Maybe there's a block involved. And you can extend that left ear over, left arm over the left ear. Feeling that line of energy from your fingertips down through that left heel. Breathe. Let's come back up on the next breath in. Reverse your warrior, straighten your right leg. Lengthen out. Release this, turn toward the long edge of your mat. Take a breath in and exhale, fold forward. Once you come forward, take a little halfway lift, extend the crown of your head and fold in even deeper. Maybe you flip your fingertips and walk your hands back through your legs. Finding a little extra leverage here. Lift your tailbone up a little bit closer to the ceiling to Really lengthen those hamstrings. Now let's release the hands back to center here. I'm going to move one of my blocks over here toward the back of the mat. And let's walk the hands over toward the left foot. And start to square yourself toward the back edge of your mat. Keep your feet pretty wide here, but face your right toes forward, coming into a widened pyramid pose. So in this wide pyramid, if the legs are wide enough, that right heel should not be grounded, so it's lifted here. Take a little lift of the chest, breath in, exhale, fold in deeper. As we get ready to release this on a breath in, bend into your left knee, rise up into your high crescent lunge. Left leg is forward. Soften your shoulders. Let's pull the hands into heart. On an inhale, exhale, take a prayer twist to your left. From here, still keeping ourselves in the twist, carefully soften that right knee down to the mat. And you can stay here in this supported lunge, or maybe reach back and catch your toes with your left hand. Release if you took that bind. Bring your prayer hands back to heart center. Press into your right toes, lift that knee up. Good. Now release your twist, lift the arms up high. Exhale, bend your elbows, open the chest. Inhale, lift your arms up. And exhale, bring the hands down to the mat, down to your low lunge. So option here, you can step back and take a flow, or you can step the right foot up to the left and find a forward fold. Take what you need here. Let's all meet in forward fold at the back of the mat. So if you're already there, come in. You can do whatever you want in this pose. Just let yourself release. Find that connection with your breath if it got away a little bit. And then we'll let your knees soften up here and we'll rise up to stand. Arms come high. And hands pull into heart center. Release your hands by your sides, almost to teeth. And weight comes over to the left foot this time. Right knee bends, catching the inside of that foot for a dancer's pose. Left hand to half of a prayer hand here. And just getting your balance here, getting that stability going. Maybe this is where you stay, or pressing your hand into your foot, foot into your hand. Lifting that left arm as a counterbalance or reaching it forward is also a good place to go. Take another big breath where you are. And then start to come back. Release your right foot, send it forward. Lift it up. Breathe. One more breath here. And on the exhale, start to tilt forward. Right leg sweeps back. Warrior three. Hands in prayer. Chest lifted. Right hip in line with the left, not opening up. And take another breath here as you're softening into this left knee, and carefully land that back foot, coming into your warrior two. Settling here. A little bit of the pressure is off of that left standing leg. I might be feeling some sweet relief here. Breathe in. And on your exhale, find your side angle. Using that block if you'd like it. Revolve your chest open a little bit more on this last breath. Good, now let's lift up here. On the inhale, reverse it back. Lengthen out on that left side. Release it. Turning everything toward long edge of the mat. And if you want, this time you can bind your hands behind your back, lifting the chest up. Breath in. And exhale, come forward. Check that the feet are equal with one another here. Really let the crown of your head drop down. It can feel a little bit precarious when we've got a bind here to let the weight tip forward to lift the tailbone, but just see if you can lift it a smidge. Trust that you won't fall on your dome. And we'll carefully release the hands to the mat. Walk the hands toward that right foot. Pivoting, squaring toward the original front of our mat here. Coming up on the left toes to swivel that left hip forward, coming into this widened pyramid. Take a little lift of the chest here. Breathe in and exhale. Fold in a little deeper. Take another breath where you are. And then we'll start to bend the right knee. Lifting up to our high crescent. Big breath in as you come up. Sink in, settle in on the exhale. Inhale, bring those hands into heart. Exhale, find your twist. Carefully start to lower that left knee down to the mat. Staying right here, or bending that left knee even further, reaching back with the right hand. Still in this twist. This is a balance move. Absolutely, even with a grounded knee. If you're wobbly, if you toppled over, you still find that compassion for yourself. Let's release and lift that back knee up. Yes, yes. Let's come back up with your arms. Big breath here. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, sweep the arms high. And exhale, let's take the hands down to the mat. Same options as side one. Stepping up to your fold or stepping back to take one of probably our final vinyasas here. And then this time, if you, if you stayed in forward fold, step back to downward facing dog And then let's all bring the knees back to the mat for child's pose. Sink the hips back. And maybe your hands reach back to join your feet, palms facing up. Letting your shoulder heads just really drop forward. This practice of Ahimsa, of non-violence, non-harming, it speaks to our actions, but it starts as a state of mind, state of our heart, a goodness and a compassion in our hearts and our minds. So let's lift up here to hands and knees, tabletop. And keeping your hips stacked above your knees, start to walk your hands forward for puppy pose, melting heart pose. So think of that heart space coming down toward the mat. Let your elbows land and forehead or maybe your chin come to the mat. Nice deep breaths. Two more breaths here. Let's carefully bend into the elbows to release the pose. And we can come right back to child's pose, rounding the spine. And I've got my hands reaching back. You might even come into rabbit pose, tucking the chin, rolling onto the top of your head, lifting the hips here, hanging onto the heels. Release that when you're ready. And let's slowly come up through the torso. Bring your legs out in front of you. Give them a little shake, little shimmy, whatever you need. Finding those sitting bones, sitting up tall. We'll sweep the arms high, soft bend in the knees, maybe bigger bend. And exhale, come forward. As you get ready to inhale, take a little lift of your chest. Exhale, refold.
And then let go of your feet and keeping this nice C curve of your spine, just slowly start to release yourself all the way down to the mat. You can go as slowly as you want. It becomes a little tiny last hurrah for the abs if you want that. And once you get down to the mat, ooh, look, I've got this blanket conveniently behind my head. And we can take a nice full body stretch. I'm actually going to scoot off of this blanket for now. And hug your knees into your chest. Give your low back a nice little massage here. And then let's draw the knees toward the outside of the body, finding a happy baby pose. So you may like to grab like full hand on the feet, or you might be grabbing the ankles if the feet are a little elusive, or you can also wrap your peace fingers around the big toes. So bring your awareness into your hips here. Try to drop the tailbone, having contact between the sacrum and the mat. And just spend a few moments here in stillness, a few breaths. Really drawing those knees nice and open. Hips and pelvis nice and open. And then when you're ready, if you want some movement here, you can go back for that side to side. And release your happy baby knees, hugging in. You can either keep your knees side by side or wrap the right over the left, arms opening up. Big breath here. And exhale, find a spinal twist, knees drop to the left. Your line of sight may go over to the right. Letting all of our effort dissolve here, finding a softness, a little additional release. You can stay on this side of your twist if you need a little longer. Returning back to center on an in-breath. We'll unravel the legs and take them the opposite way if you took those eagle legs. And we'll exhale, dropping the legs over to the right. And as we wind our practice down, knowing that we're non-harming, it's not only in the physical,
within our thoughts as well. And in keeping with our compassion and kindness that we've been striving to extend toward ourselves on this mat, make sure that extends into your thoughts as well. Notice how you talk to yourself in your mind. That's even more important than, well, or it's as important as staying safe in the body, being kind to yourself in your self-talk, in your thoughts. We'll come back to center, slowly unraveling, knowing if there's anything left that you need here on the mat, an additional posture, an additional bit of movement or stretch, please take it. It is always your practice here. And when you feel complete, taking yourself into your Shavasana, creating your Shavasana shape in a way that's kind and beneficial to your body at this particular moment. Might not be the same as your Shavasana looked last time. Letting yourself drop in. Allowing yourself complete rest and surrender. If you have the time and the space to stay in your Shavasana for as long as you need to, a few additional minutes, I encourage you to just remain as you are as long as you need to. Whenever you're ready to move back into awareness, now or later, just begin by taking a couple of deep intentional breaths. Coming back into movement with ease and gentleness. Taking as much time as you need to come up to a seated position. And we'll let the hands come together in prayer at our heart center, the seat of our compassion, our love, our Ahimsa. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for practicing with me tonight, for sharing your energy, for allowing me to guide you. And as we bow to each other with love, with light, we say together, Namaste. Thank you guys so much.